Okay, so I went down some research last night, and oh my goodness, I ran into another Barbara Walters thing, and they're always going to be bad. Like, it's going to be piece by piece by piece of like bad. They're going to say things, they're going to do things. Okay, the whole thing here, everything's run by a Christian cult. So as you're going through the information, women are dumb. Okay, they are literally dumb. And we're going to show how dumb they are on this little study here, okay? But also I have a problem with the study because this is why studies are just studies. They're not, a lot of things. But actually what it's saying is all men are rapists. And they have a personality disorder. And I'm sitting here going, they have all the information. They had all the information, and I could literally go through a wall. I can. And they put these idiots in the public for us. But let me break it down. And also that black women really hate themselves. Wow, they really hate themselves. But whose fault is that, We could get into that whole historic thing. But yeah, and the only people that had empathy for this black woman was like 25 white women, but not because of her, but because they heard his background. And I go, yes, okay, the background is so key that you do need to judge that. Because that's what creates the personality disorders. That is from a childhood abuse. That's from all these things, from the early portion. Yes, judge them by their background. As children, yes. It's so crazy because I'm like going through this. I go, see all these things right there. It's like in my face. And by the way, it has nothing to do with belief. I'm going to start sounding like a preacher at this point. Actually losing my voice because I just woke up and I'm not even coffeed up yet, so I'm gonna be really wacky. So this thing, I just got to get off my chest because like I went to bed and I was so annoyed. The information is so reframed and it's like asking all the wrong questions. It's so annoying because the public is an idiot and it was operating as an idiot at this point, and everybody's dumb. Except for the men, they're very calculated. This is a very calculated crime. It's an extraordinarily calculated crime. It is not done by ignorance. The ignorance is from the public buying into this. But that ignorance is so dangerous that when you raise children, you're raising monsters. You're creating monsters and you're telling them to be rapists? Nobody in this group in the college study, is sane. Nobody. So they ran down this story, the original, one of the early, the Mike Tyson thing. Now he's been accused of rape multiple times. He beats up women. He is not a damn victim. Stop making that piece of shit a victim. I was like, it's so annoying. Well, the reason why this even popped up because the media pulled up a story. Well, two people did this. Okay. One person pulled up a video. He is not a victim to Diddy. And no, he did not move his hand away because he was touching him. So they tried to make Mike Tyson a victim to Diddy. However, Tyson beats up women and rapes women. Guess who was hanging out with Diddy? Who was hanging out with who at the beginning of this? Diddy was going to his parties. And at the time he was going to those, Tyson's out here raping and beating up women. What the hell? He's abusive. People with this personality disorder are not capable of empathy for others, okay? They can have some sympathy for people who are just like them. So what does he do? The media puts out this public statement and they're like, this is so bizarre. I'm like, are you stupid? Yeah, they are. Okay, so, so it's showing you he has APD. He has APD. Yes, he does. Nobody does this crime without having any of that. Second, you'll notice from any other person, and it's typically from men, but you see white women are just as effed in the head. black women really are, because none of them turned around to support that black woman. And it says in the study, at least in this group of people, in this subgroup that actually went to college, they're supposed to be smarter than the rest of the class over here, went to college, literally hated this black woman. They want to come and bully her. They're going to come and tear her down. They're going to come and be all kinds of evil. That's an excuse. It is not a belief. It's an excuse. And so where do they get this? This whole class right here is mostly Christian. The damn public in the 1990s, mostly at this portion, was about 90-some-odd% Christian lunatics. And as she's talking, she's like, yeah, I'm a Christian girl. I go, that's right. That's right. And he prayed on that because that was something he brought up. Because he's looking at her going, he's probably sitting there going, are you virginal? Are you this? You're naive. We know that you're naive. So I'm going to go try to freaking do this bullshit to you. It's so calculated. So anytime you bring up that this guy is a problem, guess what the personality disorder does? Okay, so the person with a personality disorder like this crap is actually going to befriend that person and lift him up. And this is why we have a pyramid fucking scheme in this country. It's like literally screaming in your face. I'm like, these people are low IQ morons. It drives me insane. That's why I was out of school before y'all, dude. That's why I was out of school before you all. It's so crazy. I was like, they keep calling me dumb, dude. I go, I'm gonna, no. I go, I'm sitting here. I go to college when I'm 15 years old. And you're gonna call me dumb? I'll be damned. You come up here and fuck up my life, right? This is that fucking bullshit right here. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Yeah, I was like, oh God, these people are stupid. They're stupid. The men are just fucking evil. They're evil. It is thought out evil. So I'm sitting here going, oh my God, no wonder we have all these mass shooters, because like literally they got this like this collective college thing, right? So they got all the information and they're like, oh, all these people have personality disorders. We're going to ignore it. And we're just going to just say, oh, they take everybody's line. No, they don't. Because when you reframe the question, what they're saying is this: I have the right to rape a woman that walks into my fucking house. And I've actually pulled this out from them, and I've gotten into arguments with them. They're like, no, if some woman comes into my house, I have the right to rape her. So when you're asking them, oh, do you think she's a victim? Hell no, because I have the right to rape her at 2 a.m. in my house. Yeah, that's them. That's them. That's what they're saying. But the questioning is not framed properly. It's not belief. The cult belief is male supremacy. So yes, of course, they're going to say that. They're like, well, it's not a myth. Because what they're saying is, she went into my house at 2 a.m. She ain't no damn victim, because I'm going to expect sex. That's not a belief. I mean, it's not, I don't believe that, somebody went on top of her. They're trying to justify doing that action. That's why it's so screwy. Like it's all weird. Because when you actually ask these personality disordered idiotic humans, because it says right here, all male students. All those male students are rapists. All those male students are rapists. You can't hold that set of beliefs right there without being a rapist. But it's also telling you they have another problem. And that problem is a mental health issue. And it's incurable. And I'm like, holy shit, man. They had like all this information. I go, come on, somebody up in here got to have over 100 IQ. Come on, somebody up in here at this time. And the ones that do is a Ted Bundy. So they're not going to do anything. They're going to promote this conduct on us. They're vile. They knew it. Government knew it. It says right there. The framing, though, is all kinds of whack. It's not proper. It's annoying. It's stupid. It's stupid for women. This is the evil that they did for our gender. The evil they did on our gender. And also the evil they did on people of color, but it's on women. Because the root of this problem is women, right? Because they hate women. So they want to control and human traffic women throughout history. That's why you have this. So, okay, so you have racism also involved in this. But the men, do you see this? The men agreed with the other men. We have the right to be rapists. And the black women are so effed, they didn't even stand behind the black woman. They stood behind the black man. That's male supremacy, and it's really effed up. Why would they pick to support the black man? If they're trying to support just people of color in general, why would they sit there and tear down the black woman? It is the most mentally off-kilter shit ever. But this is part of that thing. But it doesn't come out just on a healthy person, okay? This is not a healthy person thing going on right here. This comes out of a PD because it's a harm to self and others. And also, it's very calculated. So it's not, oh, I'm so dumb, I'm going to go commit this crime on somebody. I do not respect you as a human. They don't have any of this capacity. So if you ever question if some guy has this, there's multiple flags. So I could go through it all day long. If I say this person did something bad, that sociopath is going to uplift that person. Pay attention. That is actually something that comes out of that disorder. So some people might put it with narcissism. Regardless of what you want to say, it comes out of. The ASPD, actually, the harm to self and others. So they do conduct that harms other people and themselves. That tends to fall in line with some bullshit like that. So anyways, they will lift up that person. So if I go, oh, this person over here raped this other person, they're in danger. So the sociopaths, all of them, the ones with the disorder, will then go and lift that guy up and want to be like him. So they kind of collectively, they find each other, like Mike Tyson and Diddy, because they were friends. So they're actually a lot alike. So they both have some disorder of that. So that's them. So what was pissing me off is that, people keep trying to turn people into victims who are actually not victims. When they're talking about his childhood, he was probably a victim in his childhood, and which is why he came out a clusterfuck like he is now. But that's not for sympathy's sake. But they brought it up, how, his childhood was all kind of wacky and whacking. And then all of a sudden the women go, 25 white women go, the thing that pisses me off about the white women, because they're evil as fuck too, is that it's not, their opinion isn't changing because the woman is talking. Their opinion is changing because they're seeing what a pile of shit the guy is. I'm like, wow, so you don't give a shit about yourself. So it shows you the self-hate from this doctrine that they were groomed into, and how that comes out. It's so crazy. This whole topic here is, and it's psychology and stuff. Yeah, that's what I was saying though. I go, but the way that they came out with this questioning is wrong. And I go, why is the guy all laughing? Like when he's like, oh, the topic of date rape, fascinating. But the prosecutor in the video actually is like literally struggling to talk about the sex acts that Tyson did to this girl. And I was like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. The whole video, anything with Barbara Walters. I mean, if you haven't sat down and gone through any of that it's so cringeworthy. Like the whole thing some people will say, like, you want it if you went up there at 2 a.m. I was like, oh my God, no. Now, I know she's asking the general, but we should put it on her, though. It's like, you don't have to ask her that question, but the public is going on like that because they're Christians or lunatics. Okay, so wait. They have it because they have their cult, right? So they're like the Mormon cult. They're not different from the Mormon cult, but they had this like weird the men put the information into the women's head. So when the man is raping them in their hotel, the man's telling her, well, you came up into my hotel, so you expected it. Yeah. So it's just the perpetrator saying that. And so they just take that, and then the victim's like, oh, he told me it's my fault. And then it's spread like that. It's an action of somebody with ASPD. It totally is. It's an action of somebody with a personality disorder. So it's the perpetrator throwing this excuse, like this thing onto the victim. And somehow, like, the victim actually ran with it because she's gaslit. It's like this sort of, thing like that. It's a protection thing from the perpetrator. And then all these women are running around right now like idiots, like they're literal idiots, going, they don't believe me. I'm like, you don't think that a person that raped you doesn't believe you? I mean, what bullshit is this? The public is a rapist. I'm like, the public, all of them. Do you see that? All male students. They had 110 students, all male students that they had there. They're rapists. That's a lot. That's effing scary. They went through college going on like this. That's why. Okay, so this is Gen X. This is Gen X because this is 94. This is like the tail end. This is well, okay, I could have been in the college thing right here. I would have been I just moved into Orange County at this time. So I would have been 19, somewhere around there. Yeah. This would have been my college years. My actual college years, not when I was 15. But if I actually went on and then went to a full college thing later, this. So this is Gen X. Gen X is a F up. So when you're looking at the media, that's why I'm calling out their gens, because I know our Gen X, they're all rapists. They're fucked. I watch them kids grow up. It is awful. And so I was like, yeah, you should expect it, because look at what happened here. All the frat houses were about them targeting women and raping them and knocking them out. Yes. What do you think those parties were about? They were pretty bad. So, again, it's all about framing. It wasn't a fun thing as I used to think. I was like, no, actually, there was some really bad shit in that. So, when you go back into the historical thing, look at how they're asking things, and it's not proper. Again, and I caught this because in the Cosby case where the ladies were taking something, even in that thing, they're like, well, you took it. I was like, what the hell are you guys saying? So if you take a Benadryl and you knock out, they're saying, I have the right to rape you, knocked out. They were just outright saying this stuff. And I was sitting back and I was like, it was so, my brain hurts so bad. I go, oh, they're not saying they don't believe any of this stuff. They're actually really demanding, saying we have the right to rape you. That's the messaging. That actually is the real thing. So when they're showing a situation like that, they're not saying they don't believe you. They're just like, what? I have the fucking right to rape you, okay? That is the argument. That's what they're arguing even on here. They're like, she's like, so I went in there at 2 a.m. It doesn't mean I want to go have sex with them. I'm like, yeah, I went to places at 5 a.m. I wasn't expecting to have sex with anybody. What the fuck is that? But anyway, I was saying that. So then they're like, you should expect sex, girl. Yeah, like they're telling her this on TV. The framing is it's wrong. It's not presented properly, if that's the best way I could put it. Oh, and so then it also pulled up on that particular case. with Desiree, is it Desiree Washington? Yeah. Beautiful. She's beautiful. Everybody jealous of her. You know, everybody's looking, these women are just like, they're like, I'm jealous. She's so pretty. We're going to tear her down. Oh, God. These women are such jealous, evil, vile, vindictive pieces of crap. They're so jealous of me, it's not even funny. So, and honest to God, I don't even think of myself as that, but they are. They'll sit there, you go look at them, they're ugly and evil on the inside. They have insecurities. They have to continually fix their face because they're so insecure. And then they come over to me and start trying to take me down. You're a witch. I'm like, you're a fucking witch. You're an ugly witch, no matter what you do to your face. Because that has to do with your inside. I don't give a shit if you go get surgery. You have fucking head problems. I've been very confident in myself. I don't look at myself all day and go, God, you know, I can't deal with looking myself in the mirror. That confidence, a lot of people are very jealous of. I don't know. It just happened with me. I mean, I didn't even try to get that. It just naturally was there, I guess. Just because I spent a lot of time trying to love myself because everybody's a piece of shit. I'm not going to, just because people say, I should hate myself. It's like, I'm not. I think I'm, the world wants me to hate myself. They want to sit there and paint me as some kind of monster. And I'm not out here raping everybody and shut the fuck up if I killed somebody's shit. I had the right to take some people out, though. In this early 92 portion government, it would have been called self-defense. And I didn't use it because I already knew that these whack jobs are going to sit there and call me a murderer. I had to let myself get harmed. And then because of that, I got kidnapped. And it's just like, I had the right to use self-defense. But government here was trying to tell us we don't. And then at the same time tell us to learn self-defense. It's literally jacked up. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You should go learn karate, girl. Okay, so I was almost a black belt. Okay, I still had about, what did I have? I had one more belt to go to my black belt. Okay, so I knew enough. You know what I mean? I was ready to take some chops to the next. Okay, so we're going in this thing. And I'm like, I know if I do anything or damages to some male, I'm going to prison. I already knew this. Everybody should have known that. Because they're going to argue, you didn't have the right to do it. You need to let men rape you, even though you're a child. You need to let these men rape you. You need to let them human traffic you out. You need to let them do all these horrible things to you and let them steal your shit. And let fucking cops watch and rape children. And take your shit. And not even be able to get rescued by piece of shit LAPD. So I wasn't allowed to defend myself. So I was like, wow. But this is them in college. They're idiots. College is a joke, you guys. That does not mean that somebody is smart because they went to a college. Doesn't mean I'm smart because I went at 15, but in my situation it does, because it doesn't have to do with that I went to a college. It's that they told me I couldn't do something, and they tried to make it as hard as possible for me not to be able to do something. But in order to be able to do what I did, it takes a smart person. If you can understand that. It doesn't take a dumb person could not have done that. And so I was proving a point to these assholes that kept calling women dumb. And then they got pissed because then I succeeded. And they tried to take me down. And this is back to back, because after that happened, these pedophile Alice Cooper camp wanted some fucking children to prey on. They want to come in and destroy my life. And you're going to tell me that those men, when even in the college thing, it says they're all fucking rapists. You're going to argue with me and call me anything. I ain't going to take that today. I'm an old damn woman now. And I was always smarter than them. I was always fucking smarter than them. And they hate that because they want to prey on innocence. They want to prey on children. They love preying on children because they are not matured enough and educated enough to stop this conduct. So they go for innocent children and manipulate them and rape the shit out of them, make them think it's their fault. So then it takes them like decades to come out. And they're like, God, I was groomed by this idiot, the idiot cult of Christians who put that shit out here. And you had to get out of it. And I go, yeah, it takes a long time. I go, here's what I'm going to start posing to these idiots online, including government's asshole. If you see a comment that says, she asked for it, she's lying, all these things, right? I'm going to tell you, idiots, take exactly what you posted to me or to somebody else or where you posted that. Go take that exact quote that you just put and regarding to what, and take that to your therapist and go get a therapist and tell me what they diagnosed you with. And then come back to us and tell us what your therapist said about you. Because that's actually what they're not seeing. Because you go in there and you play a shit game with them. You play head games and try to come out here and say that you're for women, you're against rape when you ain't. Because if you're posting some shit like that, you ain't. And don't tell me because you have a damn daughter that you love your daughter when you're posting shit like that about every other person in this gender, our gender. So you put that shit that you're doing right there, your passive aggressive shit, take that to your fucking therapist and tell me what they say. Yeah, because they're not doing that. They're not doing that. They're not doing that at all. They're not doing that at all. Like, that's the crazy thing about it. Like, I could get so mad about those little portions there, but no, like, they're literally online. They're like, women are liars or gold diggers or this. I go, okay, take that right there. Take that shit right there. Take that shit right there and shove it up your ass. Take that shit right there and take it to your therapist. Take that right there to your, if you think you're sane and fine, take those quote comments that you posted and bring that to your therapist and say, do you think that's fine? Do you think I'm fine? Do you think I'm fine? They better not say you're fine. Because this disorder right here is related to mass shooters and serial killers and just general general criminals. They basically just overlooked the whole thing. And then the mass shooting, they really took off in that 99 portion, right? So this is in 94. So basically they had the data to go, oh shit. Because it's related. Because it's part of the PD. So I was like, a rapist itself, that's like not the whole human, right? It's a conduct that a person with the personality disorder will do. Like a rapist will also run over you for business. Like they have this thing because they don't care about harm to self or others, right? So they don't care about others. They will do criminal acts to get whatever they want. They will do and then a lot of times, some of these guys are massively homicidal. So then you have those guys in the mix of this. And, there's quite a combination of garbage in that thing right there. So basically right here, when they're going all male students or psychotics, they literally could have tried to curb this thing right here, but it's a little too late. It's like really too late because that actually develops in childhood early. Even by the age of 5, like early. So, you couldn't stop what's happening right here other than pray for the best. Okay. So that they're already damaged. Okay. When you start looking back right here, if they actually started tackling it, it would have, it should have actually started reversing. But you have to do a lot to stop that because the public keeps abusing their children and they keep putting this garbage out. and they keep attacking victims like it's insane. So they keep teaching these psychotics to target victims. So what is our stupid children seeing? What is our children seeing? They're seeing daddy and mommy bullying victims. So what we're watching when we're watching the clip and everything, children are picking this up, and then they'll read the comments and they're picking up, oh, we got to bully women. We got to go after black women and target the shit out of them. She's lying. She's this. She's that. So they pick up all these things and they become a sociopath. That's it. That's really a lot of that thing right there. Simple as that. Your actions, how you speak, your conduct, and how you disregard women is picked up really easily by children. So, that's that. You don't need to, if you're stupid and you can't figure that out, you don't need to go to school for that. That just shows how dumb you really are. If you have to go to school to learn that, really, I mean, it's like, yeah, kids are sponges. They pick up everything in the environment. So if there's pictures of rape everywhere and men sitting there degrading women, they pick that up right away. You don't have to sit there and tell them that. They're just sucking it in from the environment. And it's an uncontrollable thing. So if it's all out in front of them and it's coming from different sources, yeah, how are you supposed to stop that? That's why it's mostly when they're talking about rehabilitations and cures, I'm like, good luck. Because, number one, right now, there's no cures for any of these PDs. For most of them, anyway. The ones that we're talking about. Boys are a lot of them. But within it, like, there's clusters of things, right? So, I'm not the go-to for the, that whole little thing right there. It's just that I know enough to be able to go on this topic right here. So, the problem with it is that even if you take them outside of the public, right? You take them outside the public and you put them into a rehabilitation program, that they're still teaching them that. And then they put them out back into the public and the public's still acting that way. So it's like taking a drunk into a bar and then expecting them not to drink. And then you tell them they can't drink ever again, but you keep putting them into a bar. I mean, they're going to probably keep drinking. It's not going to do anything. It's going to probably re-enable the addiction. And yes, addiction is related to the PD. I don't know about all addicts, but yes. So they have an evil, vindictive underlying thing to harm self and others. Yeah, somebody just, to even get into that conversation. Yes, there's definitely, it literally says even on the research on that thing, but because they do things, they're manicky. There's a lot to it. In fact, when somebody pulled out a video of Diddy and I go, that dude's manic as shit, dude. But it also could be he's high on drugs, but he was sitting next to the pastor guy and he's like literally going on a rant like a Kanye. And he's like, in outer space, like his eyes are so buggy, freaking weird, and he's just like, yeah, and I'm just like, yeah, you got some problems there. So if you have any of that bipolar shit or any of that, and then you're also a sociopath, and then you're doing drugs, they look hell fucking crazy, you guys. They tend to medicate. That's what they were talking about. They tend to medicate, and then they're addicts, and then, yeah, I was like, and their kids, oh no, I was like, they have the typical Nepo babies. I was awful. It's so weird. I've never called the females the Nepo baby because I don't really pay much attention to them. But for some reason, the male Nepos come out as the biggest pile of shit ever. Because they're a bunch of rapists. They're like degrading women because they're socios, right? They're like doing all this crazy crap. And it's like, yo, I just made only $4 million today. And it's just like, what the fuck is this shit? Yeah, I was like, yeah. They posted this thing yesterday. And that's Diddy's son. and Diddy's in the background with no shirt on. I go, oh no. And you know what we've been finding out? Another thing we've been finding out in this thing, because they're rapists and they're disgusting, they've been sexually abusing their own children. They've been sexually abusing their own children, and it's not even really a big topic yet. And I'm just looking at it. And then also that thing with the Nicki Minaj thing. I go, dude, they literally had an adult woman take their little son to a freaking thing. I go, this is it. So yes, so it was reminiscent of the Nygaard story with the son thing. I go, they need to talk more, because they have a problem. Okay, so daddy's a rapist. He's a human trafficking rapist. And daddy harmed and sexually abused his own sons. So it's pretty common. I'm seeing the commonality now. Like, of course, like it's almost like a duh. Like if they're rapists and doing all this crap, of course they would sexually abuse their kids. Hello? Because they don't see anything wrong with it. Mostly when you see nothing wrong with your conduct, why would you not do it to them? Why would you not do it to them? So then the question goes down the line about why would they not do it to them, to, oh, they've been doing it to them, so why isn't the public speaking more? Oh, okay. So then it goes into, because everybody normalizes rape and sexual misconduct. So therefore, when your parents are being sexually abusive to you, you're just like, it's all normal. And oh my God, we saw this. Oh, on the kissing one with Diddy and his mother. The comments are telling us y'all got sexually abused by your parents. It was ridiculous. I was reading the comments. I go, I would barf if my parents even started that kind of shit up. Like the that whole pre-kiss thing and then mooching around. And emotionally incestuous. So the comments were crazy, because there was a lot of people that were like, my parents never did that to me. It's disgusting. What the hell is that? Right? So there's those people. Good for you. Your parents are not molesting the hell out of you. But then there was a take of these other comments, and I'm just like, I'm horrified. They're like, my parents and I would do that. It's not sexual. Okay, we don't care that you're saying it's not sexual. Your parents are being sexually inappropriate. Because if you're going to okay your parents to do that on you like that, then you're okaying that any random adult will do that to your kids. And they've been doing that, and they're child predators. No random person should have their mouth on your children. There's a whole thing to that. And so I was like, oh my God, these people are insane. No wonder when they're looking at the Michael Jackson story that they're missing all the major flags, right? Because there's tons of flags. Like there's tons. And it's just like, yeah, he got his hand on this boy's crotch, dude. Like, it's pretty bad. And it's in a photo. And it's like, what is that Then he's humping in front of children. He's grabbing his crotch in front of little boys. And they're sitting there trying to normalize it, going, well, he's a man, so he should be able to touch himself in front of a little boy. And I'm like, no, actually. And then he's putting his mouth all over tons of unknown kids, girls and boys. It didn't even matter. And then he's grabbing him and throwing him right on top of his lap. And I'm like, this is insanity. But they also kind of normalize some of that too with the Christmas thing. It's like, hey kids, come and sit on Santa's lap, even though that's not even your dad. Just weird stuff, like stuff that you wouldn't, maybe that you thought was so minimal, nothing. There's a lot of things that they normalized. And then predators will go, yeah, come and sit on my lap, kid. And then all of a sudden, touchy. It's like, oh, that was just me. I'm just sitting. Nah, you're the sick one. Why are you thinking I do that to your kid? And then they're all grope. It's you guys, grope. Because they're calculated. They're very calculated. This crime is not out of stupidity. This crime is out of a very calculated action. Like a frat house, right? They want to keep doing all this bullshit. And they think it out. And then they go do some harmful shit to you. And they think it's funny as shit. Okay, so very calculated. So, yeah, looking at that, I go, okay, yeah, we got a huge problem because a lot of the public got molested by their parents. They got molested and sexually abused by their parents. And we need to force the topic because that's really bad. Because they're not even like identifying that their parents are incestuous. And I'm like, shh. Okay. Yeah. And then they'll just pass it on. I know they were talking about Will Smith being like that. I didn't even know that. I didn't know. No. I don't know if he actually was being that way, but they were saying that he was mouthing the sons, and I don't know if that's true, you guys. Because when you go down these rabbit holes, sometimes people make things up. Okay, but I'm just saying I ran across a video like that where they were talking about it, and they were showing how the kids were mad at them. They didn't like it. They were being overly touchy, something weird. And I'm like, ew, if they were doing that, then yeah, there's a problem. So they pulled up another picture where they were saying, oh, it's just art. I put my daughter with this other man in a bed. And I'm like, I don't know if I remember that or not, but no, that should not be happening. Yep. So all the rapists are out and proud. And no, they absolutely, you guys, they absolutely had the data to tackle a maraud. A maraud. I mean, it's like a total figure. They had the data right here to show the personality disorders in all the guys. Why was that occurring though? So then you have to sit there and go, why all males? Because it says all males. So I was like, well, why all males? Because the historical thing on it. The Bible's teaching them to do that. So the Bible is causing self-harm. It is like one of the worst things that have come out. I mean, I don't know, but that was just the population. You have to look at what was being taught in the population. But in addition, I don't know where the rape a son thing came in, because rape a son, is there rape a son in the freaking Bible? Maybe in the thing where maybe there's something about the minute that they have sex or a man. I would have to, I cannot for the life of me think of where that was derived from. Anybody want to help me with that one? You Bible scholars. I went back and forth through that because I had to do the studies on it very young. So I was sitting there thinking, like, where did that get pulled from? Because I don't know where that came from in the full picture of this. So no, nobody should be raping their sons. I don't know where it came from. I still have to, I'll try to figure it out. Maybe, but again, if you guys know, throw it to me, because some of these things I'm like, oh yeah. So I'm trying to find the historical root of the abuses. We could figure a lot on the people of color, right? Because the white man and their slavery and their human trafficking. So when they did all the abuses on them, the abuses passed through their family, through their lineage. It absolutely did. In addition to the Bible, it's that in addition to the Bible, and it made it scary as hell. Yeah, so they have personality disorders. They knew about it. They also had another thing that they had that government knew that was just, oh my God. It's like once you get educated on this stuff and you could figure it out, you could figure it out. You don't need to go to college, but you could eventually figure it out. You should come to the same conclusion, because that's the correct conclusion. That they had the profiling for the criminals, like the serial killers, which is related to this, by the way, because a rapist is basically a serial killer that sometimes will murder and sometimes doesn't. Basically, because, Ted Bundy be doing all that, and then he kills them. But not all serial rapists are homicidal, though it wouldn't matter really to them much if they were. Like, it's kind of like, well, if I have to, I might. Okay, so those things are connected. So they had these profiles, and then it would talk about the profiling in the background, like, oh, they came from this type of home, religious like they knew. It says religious, overly religious home, military parent, this type of thing, overly strict this, or they could have came from like a home of poverty and on the street, some other things. So they would have all these profiling things. So they had like all the information right there as well. And so I go, yeah, it's showing you what is creating the PD. It's showing you what's creating the PD. And then it's showing you that they're all over the damn place. And then they know it's not curable at this moment. So I'm just thinking as I'm finding this out, because I knew they had the profiling, and then I knew that they had this information too, but I go, oh, we must be looking at the research wrong or not properly, which we were. And the questioning is all kinds of weird. The oh, so I'm saying, I go, okay, so they had all the information right there. So then you look at that type of information, you gather all that data together, and you go, okay, so what do we do to stop it? I mean, you really do. You get the all that stuff there, and you go, what are the means to stop this kind of conduct? It's not, oh, mute people and stop it, because that actually is not, well, number one, it's not a cure. And two, all it's going to do is piss people off, and they're going to take over the government. So this thing right here is something you want, you know you could prevent it. So that's a given. You could prevent it. So how do you prevent it? So there was areas here where they didn't, they keep causing it. So if you keep causing it and pumping it out like a machine, you're not going to do anything. And you're going to have more mass shootings. You're going to have them, and it's going to actually shift into other things. So I was like, okay, yeah. So taking away guns is literally not going to do anything. Do you see how it's not going to do anything? Because they're sociopaths. They have PDs. Like, they have all kinds of problems. So removing it doesn't stop them from doing a violent act. Because most of these serial killers and these other people in society didn't even use a gun. I mean, there's a lot of people that didn't use guns. So that's not the problem. Because the person that has these disorders wouldn't even desire to have all these guns and do all these things. They really wouldn't. Because if society was a safer place, they wouldn't desire guns, because, I mean, they wouldn't desire guns in the way that they are right now. Because a lot of people live in fear, right? And then there's some people that fetishize that shit, but the people that are doing that also have the disorder. Most of those guys. So if that's removed, there isn't much of a desire to have all that. And it would only be used probably more or less for safety and hunting. Like, you would have those people. And it wouldn't be what you're seeing right now. So I was like, yeah, it would just go away. It would fall away, because you're correcting the problem with those other people. Because the mentality behind it is what's causing that. It's part of that. It's part of that thing right there. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And you can't just tackle racism, because racism is just a product outside of what this person with the personality disorder has, because they're taking a group of people and seeing themselves above them. So that's actually part of that disorder, and it's ridiculous to only go at it. But as you see, if you only go at it, women still hate themselves, and the men still hate women. And so it's regardless of a skin color, as you see on this actual study here. It's really deep, actually, if you really sat down with this. That it doesn't matter what color you are, they just hate women. And white women hate women, and black women hate themselves, and then all men stick together. Do you see it? I want you to see it, because that was what I was seeing as we were talking about racism. I go, yeah, no, okay, so that's a branch of. So you wouldn't want to just target, you wouldn't want to go at that, because if you went after the disordered person, if you could cure that, you would fix that, because they wouldn't be going at all these different groups of people like that in this way right here. So I was like, yeah. So, and I was saying it's not the root. It wasn't the root. They were trying to tell me it was the root. I go, it's not the root, because when they're talking, they're degrading our gender chronically. Like, literally, if you just sat down and listened to a guy talk, chronically degrades us within a minute, probably about 100 times. I mean, I'm not kidding. It's like, don't be a B word. Don't be a wussy. Don't be a sissy. Don't be a woman, because that's the most horrible thing to ever be. Like, they say these things and it's so subconscious, it's fucking crazy. But that's actually part of that, and that's actually the root. That thing right there. So I was like, okay, we know the answers, but to put that in motion in a clusterfuck of a world with PDs, because the personality disorder, the people with this, so these all male students, are going to make shit up 24/7. They're little children, so they don't really mature past age 5. And so what they'll do is they will make up shit. And they're pathological liars, so they'll start making up shit. Women are all liars. Yeah, like they'll make up shit. They don't believe that. They're making up shit. But if you buy into it, you just got manipulated. That's why you see this case in France. This case in France was actually, he's also another one. She's like, I'm so confused. He kept going with me to the doctors. I go, oh, you know why he did that? I'll tell you why he did that. Because we know scrambled egg. Okay, so we know their brain, right? So their brain's really wired wacky. But what he's doing there, because he's so calculated and evil, what he's doing there is he's following her along to the medical clinics, right? And he's like, I got to be on top of the crime because I want to know if they're going to catch me yet. Because she's actually going into the doctors and they're doing all these things to her. And he was doing all these crimes to her, right? So he's trying to stay on top of it. He's paranoid right there. So he wants to stay on top of the crime. That's how calculated they are, you guys. It's not out of ignorance. They're very calculated. He's like, oh, shit, she's going to the doctors. I'm going to stand by her and act so supportive. I'm going with you, honey. We're going to the doctors. And I love you and blah, 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 blah. And what he's doing is he's like, I got to make sure that they don't, like, catch my ass, Yeah. And right now she's like, I can't believe it. He seems so caring. You got hit by a sociopath. And I'm here to let you find out the flag. I'm telling you what the flags are. The flags are really simple. And they're easy to see when you're educated on them. That's why I said, like, you guys are blowing off things like guys with their mouths on children. Like, what the hell? You're just in a groomed room. There's a lot of flags. So that's why I said, don't ask women if the guy's abusive. And then she sits there and goes, no. That's why I said, I go, when their boyfriends are serial rapists, they're like, no way. But then what you find out is that she's been letting him rape her the whole entire time. And she's like, that's not rape. Do you see this? Do you see that this study right here is telling you that all these white women, only 25 of them change their mind after only hearing the guy's background. Why'd you need to hear the guy's background? Do you not know they're all rapists? They're telling you right here, all male students. What's your problem, white women? It's funny that black women call out white women. This is the craziest thing. So also in the middle of this is something that we're just calling a pin. So the pin, it's an action done by sociopaths. The pin is to get other people to target other people and not the perpetrator themselves. So it's a game that somebody with this personality disorder does. So, like, they cause problems, right? The perpetrator is the socio. So what they'll do is they'll go, oh, we're going to get these women over here to fight with these other women over here. And they cause a pin. And then so black women, instead of targeting freaking men, perpetrator men, they go and they target the white woman. Well, the white woman is not the one that started slavery. So they do this pin. It's so interesting what they do. And this happens in, all different ways in life. So it's just like, there's just an example of this. And then, yes, there's evil white women out here. Trust, there is. But the thing is that you can't fix this problem by targeting women, because women didn't actually start this problem. And then what they do is they then protect the men. Do you see it? Because they look over the males that actually caused this, because the men are raping all of them and shit. And then they go and they target the white woman, and it's so idiotic. And then they target themselves, right? As you see here, they're targeting their own people. They're targeting their own women. And I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty fucked. That thing right there, because it makes it really difficult being a black woman, because you have racist white supremacists, and then you have black men who want to be male supremacists, so male supremacy. So again, white supremacy is only a root out of male supremacy. So all male supremacists are just all men that think they're in charge of the universe. Okay, so that's what that is. So you got white supremacists, then you have black supremacists. You have, I wouldn't even call them black supremacists, though they might exist, where they think only, to be a black supremacist, you'd have to think that only black people should rule the universe and everybody else needs to be gone. Again, even if they were black supremacists, that is rooted in male supremacy. So they could drop the black part, but they all still collectively would come together because they're males, right? So, and they have the same fundamental belief system. They all have the same fundamental belief system, no matter what. But then, and that's based on narcissism. That's a personality disorder. So they have the same type of belief system because it's a narcissist personality disorder type of thing. Okay. Anyway, so then the other thing, so you can remove that and they all collectively come together. So what we're seeing right now is all them collectively coming together. And then you're hearing all the black men that have that disorder protect themselves and trash on black women. I cannot believe the shit that's coming out of their mouth. And it's so amazing. And I'm sitting here watching black women go at each other and let black men go abuse them. Like, they're so deep in that shit. And I'm like, I started talking about it. I go, you know what? We need to come up in here and help these women out. Because, like, what the hell? What the hell? It's like watching babies, fighting with each other. You got to separate them, man. Like, that thing, it's like, what the hell is that? No, but you're going to see it. You could literally, as they're talking about it, you could see it in this research, this questioning, this study right here. There's not a lot of information in the study, but as I'm telling you all that, and then you go back and read this little portion here, it starts to make sense. Like, it makes sense to why, the whys. You're looking at the whys. Why this, why that, and why is it looking like that? I'm not stupid. I'm just terrible with the English language, for sure. I know my weakness. I know my weakness. Otherwise, I could have been a really good, teacher. Anyway, so they really hate what I'm teaching, mostly on here. But it should be in every college course ever. Nobody should be hitting college, with this all-male student being a pro-rapist. That should have never happened. That's really frightening. And unfortunately, now, they're in their 50s. They're in their 50s to late 50s. I think could even be in their 60s at this point in Gen X. Anyways, they're rapists. So what's going to happen is, because without even knowing anything else, you could sit back and go and predict and know, okay, all these men are going to get outed eventually because of education, because the education of it with them saying, teaching consent, doesn't stop this problem right here, okay? Because that's a different problem. Their problems are actually being created from other things. Teaching about consent and all these other things will get them to go, oh, somebody actually did that to me. But what you're going to find in a lot of this stuff, because it took them so long, they probably did that shit to other people, which makes them now a perpetrator. And what they're trying to do is make it where they can only be one or the other. And that's actually not what's going on here. And I was even talking about our stuff. It's not like I'm a perpetrator, but when I was a kid, I did things that were not great. And then later, I did become, I was a victim throughout this whole thing, really, but it's kind of a back and forth with things because other people were doing it to me, then, we're doing it back. But then as we get into a later portion, I was full on a victim, and then I started trying to deal with that. So then I didn't perpetrate. I'm not a perpetrator. I wasn't raised the way to be have a personality disorder like these people. So it takes a little bit in that soup to get that monster right there. It could have happened. I was saying that the environment, though, you could see where it could happen. It didn't happen with me. It definitely happened with my friends, though. I'll tell you that. Holy shit! But I saw it, so I could tell you what happened. I could tell you what happened. And the ignorance ain't bliss. The ignorance can cause a lot of monsters, okay? That that is mostly when you look at the Justin Bieber thing. I was saying that the mom was just from this era. You could sit and listen to the video. Justin's having a hard time comprehending his mother. When you listen to the video from 92, you could tell that the girl is extraordinarily naive. Like, her education, she's smart. We're not calling her dumb. It's that she's not she could have learned a lot more by that age. Yes. If you compare her talking at the age of 18 from 1992 to another child today at the age of 18, night and day. They're so much more educated. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. The Christians do not want that because it's actually causing people to dump that shit, because the more smart you are, the more you're going to be able to figure out that you got duped to the house. Like, you got manipulated, and you're not going to believe in something that's harmful to you, because it's harmful to men and women. So they want to cut back on education. So you don't want to cut back on education. Nobody should ever cut back on education. And in fact, the crazy thing is like, you think they're smart today at 18. Give it another 20 years, 30 years. They're going to be even smarter, hopefully. Unless they get enslaved. The human brain has a lot of capacity to take in a lot of information. They actually kept kids dumb when we were growing up. And I was so curious. So I was a very self-taught person. So I would try to learn everything. And I think it's more determined on those factors, like for kids that are, a lot more brighter than others. The household that you're in, I think, is a huge factor to that type of thing. Yeah. Nobody was dumb in our family. I mean, dumb in the sense that these people make my brain hurt out here. Okay. I'm serious. Like, to the point where I have to dumb myself down to the point that now I don't even know words anymore. Like, I don't know. There's just a lot of things that I have to bend to the public to be a certain way stupidly. And it's not, this was a problem with me in school. So I just want to actually be honest about this problem. So this problem was pretty bad. So I guess the curriculum wasn't stimulating me enough. And so I just say, fuck it. It's boring. I don't care. Like, it just becomes this thing. And not that it's hard or any of these other things, but it's that it's too easy. It's boring. It doesn't stimulate me. So I need to have a lot of advanced things in order. I don't know. It's just strange. Like, this thing right here is really advanced. Like, it's a very, it's not an easy topic. It's one that you need to do a lot of research, a lot of studying. And I love debating the bullshit that they've been going on forever, and it's all kinds of wrong. Which I do it in the cold case thing too, right? When I was pulling up those things, I go, oh, they looked at it all kinds of wrong. Because I'm looking for the wrongness. And it's an easy thing for me to do. And this is all kinds of wrong. The questioning, the presentation, the way they're asking it, it's evil. It's downright evil. But on a level, you could look at it and go, the people that are doing the study, do I think they're purposely trying to be vindictive and evil? Probably not. It probably is out of straight up ignorance on this right here. So I don't know. But holy shit. It's like a holy shit. It says right here, all male students. So, oh, and to tell this off, so there's a additional portion to this. The one thing that it didn't break down is like where it says the 15 black, like it doesn't break it down like it's like 7 women, 7 male. I wish it had that. It might be in the additional part of this study, and you have to pay for it maybe. But just for the general purpose here. So yeah, it's not extraordinarily specific. I had to do some math here. I was like, oh yeah, okay. So basically it turned out to be 55% of them are a bunch of rapists, and all of them are men. And then there was a bunch of women involved in it. And then 10 of them had no opinion whatsoever, and they're problematic. Being a fence center on this topic is very problematic. Those are people that would also not report. Like I could tell you the characteristics of these people as well. They're the people that won't report. They're the people that are like, I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to do this thing. These people are so problematic. It matters. It matters. It matters on this topic. Sometimes maybe you shouldn't get involved because you don't know shit. Okay, so you really don't. So there could be a good explanation for that, but no, you really should have an opinion about this right here because it was pretty straightforward. Because if your opinion of women is that low, nobody should have made it to college at this point. That shouldn't even be, that should have never, ever, ever happened. But we're in a country that is about human trafficking women. We're in a country that human trafficked humans. And who human traffics people? People with a personality disorder. That's exactly it. It doesn't have, it's not a normal, healthy person going, I'm going to take this human and use them as slaves. I mean, this is just ridiculous. That was a huge component to this thing because I was like, you could not come up to me and tell me, okay, against their will. You could tell me if they were like totally consenting, I will enslave them. Yeah, I was like, I will enslave them. I will. They're gonna be my chore boy. To sit there and say, okay, this group of people, they can't be part of society. So listen to the level of narcissism that is coming with that. These people are not equal to me. Narcissism, right? That'd be narcissist personality disorder. These people are not as good as myself. Narcissist. Okay, now we're going to tell them what to do. We're going to beat the shit out of them and harm them. ASPD. Harm to self and others. Holy shit. Okay, so, yes. So I was like, okay. They're missing the personality disorder that it takes in order to have that happen, because you couldn't just randomly go up to a person and tell them to do that unless those things were already present. So then it goes into this thing of how did that happen? Because, okay, how did they get the disorder? Because that shit's crazy. Yeah, so go through history. They abused all the kids. Is somebody going to argue with me this? I'm fine with the argument. I could break it down. That's why I'm breaking it down. I'm telling you how I came to my conclusion. Because if there's errors in the conclusion, then I can go back and correct it. But I'm telling you, I'm 1000% solid and very confident on my conclusion. And that's scary because now I know, oh, all the kids were abused. It's a mass child abuse thing that we're dealing with. And it's not genetic. For the most part, it's not genetic. Like, they may have some genetic components. I was saying I don't want to even get into that field because I'm not in that field, but I know that, there's some things that you are born with that it has nothing to do with that. But you're not born with a mentality to go rape women and they're below you. Okay, this is not something anybody's born with. Drugs do not cause that either, by the way. It's the opposite effect. They have that and they do drugs. It's the other way around. That they have these addiction, these addict personality. They have a lot of problems. They have a lot of problems. But it'll go. Even the people that are not out here like harming everybody, and they become addicts, I think a lot of them would tell you that they had a lot of other issues going on prior before they started doing that. So you listen to those ones, and then the ones that I know for certain are running with this thing right here that would literally go enslave a group of people. Okay, so they're addicts. Like, yeah, there's a big difference. Everybody's an object. Everything they're very shallow. They have a lot of issues that you'll notice, and we're not talking about in the desperation to get drugs, because a lot of people are desperate and do drugs. I would like to pose the question to some addicts out here that went to rehab: did you all of a sudden turn into a child human trafficker? Okay, so there's some differentiating things in those factors. That's why I said, I go, there's the additional thing to that. So I was like, yeah, there's a deeper thing to that. They're not cured. So even if they stop doing the drugs, they're not cured. They still have this mentality. Women are below them. These things, that thing. They're not cured. They're still abusive. They're abusive piles of shit, even right now. And I'm like, God, more research needs to be done. I'll point it out. I mean, if I will sit there and help them out, I'll go, because I'm a victim to them 20 million times over. I know what the flags are. I know what they look like. I know what they're going to do. I know all their characteristics. I know everything for the most part. But sometimes they get past me. The ones like I don't focus on as much as like a purposeful shutdown is stupid ass women. So I was like, yeah, I started paying attention to them now a lot more. And I go, oh no, they're the same. They're the same. They're not even different. You tell her, this guy's a rapist. What does she do? Goes and dates him. Goes and brings her kids around them. Goes into stupid shit. Don't the guys do that? Yes. So those women have problems. And I was like, oh, okay. So no, it actually looks the same. I don't know why I disregard it. I mentally disregard it. Probably because they're not out like getting me in an alley and raping me, for the most part. But because you look at them as maybe possibly as the lesser evil in the story, but they're actually not. They're creating the sons to have the personality disorder because they're abusive, and because they're so abusive to us, as you see, they hate us. Do you see this? So on this little tiny paragraph of a study, it's telling you so much information. So they hate themselves. They will not listen to other women. So they're abusive mentally, even to the female child. So as they're abusive just generally, they're becoming abusive because of the men. Okay, there's this back and forth thing with it, but they became abusive because of human trafficking. Okay, so and their cult shit. And so they start abusing the children, and then the sons, or they overly enable the son. See, because right here, actually, if you look at this, they're actually cuddling the man. Like he could do no wrong. You'll see it here. This is sort of a narcissist type of thing right here, even. Mike Tyson is an angel. He could do no wrong. We're going to protect him, even though he's a serial rapist, woman beater. Okay, so this is what's going on here. So take this to your home life. And they're treating the sons like this, the angelic son child that everybody wants, is going to create some mega ass monsters. That is one way that they're created. Other ways are from massive other abuses, and that's so on and so forth. Okay. I wanted to point it out. So women definitely are a huge component to this problem, because they're also the parents mostly, because men typically leave the home and don't take care of their goddamn kids. So they are a huge problem in this thing. And so when they're talking about this topic, they're not looking at, they need to fix them goddamn self. Don't tell me to be a nice person or any of these things to them, because they have been attacking us to like no other. And I disregard them. It's the funny thing. It's like I myself will disregard them because they're bullies. But the truth is that we shouldn't disregard them because they're actually a huge component to this problem of creating personality disorders. Totally. Do you guys disagree with me? The psychology Department of Psychology at the State University of Lake Charles. Do you guys? I don't know. I don't think they even went that deep into that topic. I think it was just like they just generically went, "What do you guys think when you're listening to her?" Psychology. It's like I don't know, but I went historic on your ass. I don't know. I just went into some other areas. It's funny because they might think I'm dumb because, like, okay, so I didn't go to college for psychology or any of that, but I'm about philosophy. I was like, and I didn't do that well in it. No, actually, so some of my other studies, as we went into later, was basically human sexuality, but it wasn't really presented as human sexuality. But it was basically presented as, well, supremacy. But then I'm learning about supremacy itself, like the whole mental thing to it. And as I'm learning it over time, like years go by, and this is in a consensual context, okay? So they didn't have courses on supremacy. They would teach, you would learn the history of some of these like really bad leaders and things like that. But this is like the actual mentality of acting it out and understanding the full psychology to being this type of person. And it was a lot of work for me because I'm not naturally a dictator. So yeah, and it was always so awkward. Like, it was so awkward. This is when you start feeling like a fraud. Okay, so no, because I'm not now, I don't wake up and go, everybody should like bow down to me. My name is Diddy. My name is Diddy. Y'all need to bow down, and I'm gonna snap my fingers, and you should sit there and light my cigar. Well, that's an act over here because it's just entertainment. For that person, no, that's very real. So I could actually jump into his brain, which is really creepy. But yes, because the learning of it was in a playful context. It's not in a context where I want to go run around and harm people. So it was interesting. So then it gets into, the females being that way. So anyway, and then you flip it, and then male supremacy. It's just the same thing. It's just men doing it. I don't even think it would look different. I don't think it would look much different. It would still be women hate women. I don't think you would see. I honest to God, if it turned into female supremacy, I honestly think if you took this study and it was in that reversal, I don't even think it would still turn around and be like, women support women. I don't know, but maybe it would. And maybe it would just look in the reversal. I was questioning it, like what would it look like in real life? And I mean, maybe only because male supremacy is so deeply ingrained in everything that it's hard to see past that. But if it was like by that diagram, that whatever you want to call it, I'm getting totally annoyed with some things on my phone. Okay, then it would probably go all female students and all black students continue to consider him, well, no, it wouldn't be, and then they would consider him guilty. That wouldn't be female supremacy, because that would be the actual correct way to view that. That would be healthy. Actually, I don't know if we should be concerned just generally that it would be all anything, because that would be a mass group of people that all are thinking alike. I would almost expect, I'm not sure how to view it this minute. I would almost expect like there'd be a couple guys that go, oh no, it's totally rape. So, because of this as well, you guys, if a male student went into Mike Tyson's apartment at 2 a.m. and he gets raped, he's not going to say he got raped, right? Because he's saying that they should expect it. And so therefore that's their normal, is to rape each other, which they have been. So none of these students would ever report rape. None of them. And as you're stewing on all of that, you already know the answer to what's going to happen in the future. As the education goes, this is rape, men. And yes, you could be victims, men. They're going to go back at this time period right here in 94 and go, oh, when I went into this guy's apartment, he did this thing to me back in 94. Okay, so what's happening here? Let me explain it. I'm trying to explain it. Am I a good teacher? Kinda, maybe not. Okay. So they're having a moment now because this was their brain. This is your brain on socio. This is your brain in 1994. We're in 2024 now, right? In 1994, they said, you should expect me to rape you in my apartment at 2 a.m. That's actually what this is about. Now, all the rapists are like, no, you can't say that's rape because I did that to everybody. That's what they're doing. So then the victims of them may now go, oh my God, I actually was raped in 1994. But then they probably raped a bunch of other people too, right? Because they're here. They're in this clan, all male students. And so they're going to have two different things going on. They okayed it and they did it on other people. Now they're going, oh, that happened. So 30, some odd years later, they pop up. They're like, I was a victim to so-and-so. Okay, fine. But all the male students are going to come and attack them and tell them they're making shit up. I don't believe none of that. No. It's not even I don't believe none of that. It's that I feel that I have the right to do that shit to you. That's the actual proper framing to this thing. Then it is bully. It's almost like they learned a word and they just spew it out to be a shithead. But no, I mean, really, because they're just trying to protect themselves. I mean, really, at the end of the day, when you're looking at it, you can view it any which way you want. They're just trying to protect themselves because they did that shit. So I go, oh, yeah. So every time you hear a guy doing that, they're basically just loud mouthing, I rape people, I rape people, I rape people. And I'm like, wow, okay. You have no shame to that, fool? No, it makes them feel powerful. So it's not even it doesn't make them even feel shame. They feel powerful. That's how effed up that PD is. They have no self-awareness. They don't even care. They come out here looking like the biggest fool out here. And they're like, this is great. I'm getting attention. Yeah. You got to understand that PD. Holy crap. And there's a bunch of them, right? But they kind of cluster together. The narcissist. Oh my God. Is the narcissist really insecure? Hell yeah. The narcissist tells himself that they're the best looking things ever. I know that I'm hot. I'm all these things. Which is really different from having self-confidence. I really accept myself for the way I am. I'm actually pretty. That's a different thing. These people are so conceited. But at the same time, it's false, because if you go, dude, you're ugly, they will flip the hell out and they'll do crazy shit. I was like, I don't know, but I noticed this from some of them, because what they'd love to do is put you down for how they'll call you ugly, like you're not a model, you're not these things. They'll do this shit and they think they're the hottest shit in the room. And then you hit them up on their that whole thing right there. And then all of a sudden they're out there fixing their face. The dudes. It's crazy. The guys will do it. So they put their whole manhood into their objects that they own, such as cars and houses, and they're so insecure. So when you deny any of that from them, they lose their shit. And they're like, something's wrong with me. she won't go with me because she won't take the car. Yeah, I just, whatever, she won't take money from me to, be with me. And they're so insecure. And then they get mad and they have an expectation that you should do it. And then they'll come after you and they'll try to murder you at your doorstep. It's crazy, but that's the PD right there. It makes sense when you think of it as a child, when you think of it as a little baby child, because that's where they're emotionally stunted. So when the baby child wants a toy and they want to play, and then you take it away and they start throwing a fit, right? They're like, I want my thing. What did I do? Because that's the only way they know how to get attention, because they can't really convey, their emotions too well at this time. So they start acting out in these crazy ass ways and they might start throwing shit at the wall. You get a Johnny Depp. That's exactly it. They're like emotionally stunted right there. So they do dangerous shit. So that toy that they're throwing is a damn gun. It's a knife. It's all these things. And they grow up and they're like that. Yeah, they're emotionally stunted. So that's why we're talking about it. I go, well, how do you cure that shit? Because that's really bad. Like, a lot of people could relate to acting out in that way once in a while. Like, there's this level. I keep saying there's a spectrum. There's a level to, like, it's normal maybe if you did it like one time or two times, but you probably shouldn't be acting out that way ever at all. But what people do, you probably done something like that at a time. You got mad at something and you threw something. Are you doing this every day? Is this how you're acting on everything? Are you doing this? It's like that thing. So then you see where it's like a major problem over there. Are you yelling and screaming 24/7? I cannot deal with it. I will, there's certain, yeah, so last before I go. Because in their childhood they got yelled at, some of these people did. The unfortunate thing that I was saying this, I did a test of this too, so I don't like yelling. I do not like yelling at people. I don't like any of that stuff, but it happens. So sometimes you have to do it. So one of the things is that they don't respond to normal conversation. But they'll play victim in this too as well. So because they're flip-floppers, they manipulate, so they'll flip-flop and be like, they yelled at me. Oh, watch it, you guys. So sometimes, because not even sometimes, a lot of times, they don't respond to like a woman at all because we're disregarded. So we have to be like, they're like telling us to be ultra nice again, the purist, right? They're like, you have to talk to us in this type of manner. Okay, fine, I do, right? They don't listen to me. They don't listen to me. It goes through one ear and out the other. They don't listen to me. All of a sudden, when this voice changes into a more authoritative, voice, all of a sudden they're like, she's being mean to me. She's saying a word to me, and I am not going to listen to anybody that talks to me like that. Okay, so they'll play this game. I'm really fucking tired of it. Those are the female socios. Those ones are fucking insane. It's like, I literally spent about a year going, can you please help me with this thing? Can you please, I want to do this thing. I want to move. I want to do this. I want to do that. The whole year ignored me. So then finally I go, this is fucking bullshit. I need to get the fuck out of here. Yada, 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 yada. And now they're like, don't say, you need to speak in a better manner. And so therefore I'm going to retaliate on you and make you live where you don't want to be and you can't leave. So then it becomes human trafficking. For almost 7 years, you guys. This is from another lady. She has a problem. She has a fucking problem. Don't sit there and start saying the F word is the reason why you're abusing me. The whole thing about it was so insane because I'm telling them in a normal way. And they're ignoring me. And they're gaslighting me. And they're like, nobody forced you to be there. I go, oh, you're saying that I chose this situation. I chose an abusive situation. I did. You're evil. But you see it in this in this study right here that is definitely going to happen. You have to read it and stew on what this is telling us, even just in this paragraph, this abstract, this thing right here. They're not listening to the woman. They're not listening to her speak. They're looking at her, she's full of shit. They have no good opinion about women at all. Nobody. Because even if it was a white woman, it would still be that way. I would be interested to see how many of the white women would automatically listen to the white woman, because that may give us some more insight in that thing. But generally, no, they don't. They're really bad. No, white women are really bad to each other. I think there's a false perception of that, but no, they're awful. And they have to be like that because otherwise male supremacy couldn't happen, right? It couldn't have happened. We couldn't have this pyramid scheme going on that we have right now. So no, they're not good to us. They're not good to each other. They're shitty. My mother was wanting to be in competition with me. She did not like that the public thought I was cute. And, as a 3-year-old, she wanted the attention for her. So she chronically was like trying to battle with me, man. It was weird. As a kid, it's weird to have that happen. Because you're enjoying yourself as a kid, and I'm like, oh, all these people like watching me, and I enjoy the crowd, and then my mom's getting all jealous and pissed, and it's like, should be me, it's like this thing going on. It's like, what is that? Like, she's trying to live through me too at the same time, because it's like, did I want to be a dancer? No. Did I hate doing it? No, but that was not, she had a dream. I'm like, she had a dream. And I don't know. I still don't know how to think of that whole thing, because she made me do that. And then I, got a lot of attention from it. And then they put me in the newspaper. So I'm like half naked in a newspaper, So I'm just like, I'm used to this attention. Like, I started very young being an entertainer, basically. So it, I don't know. I'm used to it. So it's not a, that's just my world. So they can't really comprehend too much of that. Then they had us doing parades, chronically involved in performing. But she did not, I felt like she was chronically trying to get the attention for herself. And trying to make me feel bad for the attention that I was getting. And that's probably another key note to this, is that women getting jealous over other women for getting the attention that they're getting. Like, it's somehow my fault that I'm getting the attention that I'm getting. And so therefore they start going, you brought the attention to yourself. And so therefore you should cover up, right? So they'll do this thing like that. So it'll start going into that. And then that's their way to justify abuses onto our gender. So that's how that'll start in. That's definitely probably the key area too, where that starts going in. The mentality behind it. Yeah. So anything to justify why they abuse a group of people, such as here, where they're trying to justify why we are abusing this Desiree Washington in the story. And everybody's a sociopath in the story, basically, other than like the 25 white women that finally go, oh, okay, but they're still abusing her, because they're saying her word is not king over a man. Like, they're still doing this bullshit. And even though there was factual evidence, and they actually did a rape kit. And another thing to point out about this case that I found really interesting, it was actually really hard to get a conviction for this back then, just generally, to get these guys anyway. And that to have a black woman win this case is pretty monumental, in my opinion. And that she went on TV for free, and she's saying, I'm not, and it's sad because she is owed money, okay? But she has to sit there and play this game with the public that's so fucking abusive, that, look, I'm not a gold digger. I have to prove to you I'm not a gold digger, but you shouldn't feel bad. You, as a woman, shouldn't feel bad for demanding money. So they kept trying to say it was bad for us to demand money. Government's still piling that shit on me. Did you see me run out here and go, give me $10 million? No, that's okay. Government goes, that's fine. We don't call him a gold digger. He can go do that. He can go do that. And there's no justification for doing what he did. But if I went out there and started doing that, they would discount all my stories and say, I'm just a gold digger. Did that wording happen when Corey Feldman came out here demanding $10 million? No. So this woman had to degrade herself to say, don't pay me for no fuck reason, to say that what I'm telling you has nothing to do with money. So then they still wanted to play this game with her, and it's so crazy. I go, well, she didn't get anything from it except for public hate, you assholes. So they're going on with this. So today, fast forward, all these rapist men, because it says all male students, are the same ones who are in this Generation X and the baby boomer era right there that are protecting Mike Tyson and acting stupid about this whole thing. They're not against beating up women. They're not against rape. What kind of garbage are you trying to spew out here, you idiots? They are for and promoting gender-based hate crimes. That's what that is. So that's the underlying thing. So with that in mind, those laws need to be in place. And if you start doing that kind of bullshit, you need to go to jail. So that's what was going on here. They actually had all this here. So just sit there and act stupid. Just sit there and act stupid about the mass shooting problem. I mean, go to hell, really. Okay, I had to tell this in because I was like, it wasn't brought up. Okay, so the other thing that stunted in everyone, mostly during the Christian cult era. Oh, Jesus. So they wanted to structure the thinking process of children to not look at things from different perspectives, like different, angles of things. So you could get really thrown off on this stuff. So the perspective of this right here is so off. It's not even funny. But the way that the cult operated was everything is black and white, right? So you don't think in terms of, some other angles here, like it isn't. Well, I had a better example. I was thinking of something. When the pastor that was asking to kill us all, okay, he was saying if somebody committed a crime and they go to jail or they get the death penalty, then all women who lie should go to jail and get the death penalty. It was some stupid thing like that. But basically, they're calling us all liars, right? Because they got to protect themselves for being rapists. Okay, so they're asking to basically kill all victims, okay? That is literally what they're asking for. So, it didn't take into consideration that the cases also where a lot of these men got thrown in prison for a rape actually didn't have anything to do with the victim. And when they bring these cases forward, they're completely outrageous because they don't give a shit about the victim. They don't care about the woman at all. That, hey, there's another perpetrator out here. Her justice was totally effed. And it was all a lie, right? This whole thing. And she's the biggest victim in the story, technically, because she had got raped. Some of them almost died, or some of them did die. And yeah, it's totally effed up to have an imprisonment. And that is an area of focus, but it had nothing to do with the victim, okay? So it had to do with the process in which, this happened. And what he's asking for is the way he broke it down was so black and white and stupid that you can't argue with that person because no matter what they say, they're like, well, the book says this and that, and that's the only way I think. Whereas right here, you could see that that's the exact thing that happened right in this study. Like the study's from a very ignorant perspective. It's not coming across right. So And somebody may listen to me and go, your perspective is so like this, but it's like, how could it be? Because I'm listening. The way I'm coming to this conclusion is because I'm listening to the all men, the all male students speaking about our gender. And I'm listening to them speaking, saying, and even breaking this down. If I have a woman come to my house at 2 a.m., I have the right to rape her. I mean, that's what they're saying. So I'm like, oh, yeah. So they don't actually think it's a lie. They just think they have the right to do it. That's what they're saying. So it's presented in an improper fashion, in my opinion. It is. That's why they're holding that. It's not, oh, they just believe a myth. I mean, what ridiculousness is this? It's not it's not right. Like, it's not right, you guys. And it's driving me up a wall when these women go, oh, they're not believing me. I go, I'm tired of it. Yeah, I'm having a hard time with these people. Can you guys see it yet? Because the manipulator's always going to say that to the victim. They're just going to say that kind of shit. So the actual mentality behind it is very sadistic and evil. It's not about belief. It's not. I'm putting my life, I'm a victim a million times over. It is not about belief. It's about a belief system that we should be rapists, that them and monsters. Yes. But no. I don't even remember what the hell David Spade said, but it looked like he was guilty up in here about something. So I can't tell you what he did. It could be from the general conduct of him putting his hands all over everybody. It could totally be things like that, where he's like, what? I totally grabbed boobs. I mean, without consent. How dare these women go that far? So it was something of that nature, just as an example, because that's pretty typical of these idiots. So as they're sexually assaulting me at my job, they're like, no, we have the right to do that. Because if I sit there and say it's sexual assault, then I'm asking to get myself arrested. And I know this feeling because we know the exact answer to this thing. I know the feeling because as a kid, when we're talking about the depantsing thing, I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, oh my God, this thing. But regardless of what's going to happen there, because everybody did it. So everybody's going to have to get arrested. Okay. The feeling about that is uncomfortable. It's not a good thing, And I was looking at it as if we did this even worse, and let's say I did it as an adult to a bunch of kids and adults and everything, I should be arrested. And if I was doing that and I'm asking it's kind of funny trying to think about this. I'm like, I run around and tear people's clothes off. We need to make that against the law and arrest people for doing that. Do you know how many people would actually say this? Like, I mean, to be honest, like, think about the mentality behind that. But I am saying that. I'm saying that is an assault, and it always was an assault. And unfortunately, they normalized that assault on children. And it's just fun and games. And so what we're getting is David Spade probably did that. And he probably was doing that as an adult. Whatever it was, okay? And he's trying to protect himself from trouble. So what he's saying is, you're going too far. Because holy shit, I did that. That's what they're saying. So that's the truth of what they're saying. And why they're saying what they're saying. It's going too far. Because that too far is something they did. But I would commend somebody saying, I did that shit and we should prosecute it. And unfortunately, the system promotes, please be a liar. I don't like the system because it tries to punish people for actually telling the truth. And I think that when somebody tells the truth, that should be commended. But instead, they want to play the game of let your lawyer make up shit for you, don't say much. I am not for that system because I don't think it's proper, and I think it teaches people to be a freaking sociopath liar and let people make things up on other people. Because the objective in these cases isn't about making up as much atrocious shit on somebody that you can. You're trying to get to the truth of the matter of the story. Why do you have to make up shit on other people? Because it is pissing off the perpetrators as well. Because on some of these cases, I'm not saying all, on some of these cases, these lawyers are making up things that never even happened on the other person. And it's bad for not only the perpetrator, but it's bad for the public perception. Because the public perception thinks that, oh, it must need to be at this level of activity or atrociousness in order to go convict that person of that crime. It's just some weird stuff that they've been doing. And I'm like, that's not even proper. Because if you want justice, then the justice should happen because the truth of the story and only that. Not, oh, we have all this room to play up that we can make up that that person did this other shit that they didn't. So, no, and we're not doing that over here. I'm very like, I mean, if you're going to make up shit, I could have made up a whole bunch of other shit and made it like really, that's why you got these conspiratory people up in here where it has to be this other way and ridiculousness that, that's the only way this could happen. I mean, this is just stupid. So we're based in reality, and the reality is that just doing the action of depantsing is an assault. So it needs to be prosecuted. It should have been tackled very early. Like when you see kids doing it, you tell them to stop, whatever, and make sure that that's not going on. But as it progresses and they continually do these things, the assaults are on somebody else. It doesn't matter what your MO is. The assault is on another human being. So we don't care what your bullshit is over there, David. I was like, I don't know. It was a long time ago. He was saying something and it was totally gross. And I was like, oh no, it's telling me that he did shit. But I don't know what he did. It could be just something like that, you guys. But it could even be far worse than that. But when they start doing that, that's what they're doing. Because they're looking at it going, because you wouldn't say it. You wouldn't say, oh my God, it's going too far unless something you did is getting tackled now. And so, as you see, all male students. Yeah, you fit into all male students, David Spade. I tackle the people I was fans of. I'm totally great. Because these people I hear are so fake. They're like, he's my friend. I really love him. He do that. I'm a fan, or I hang out with all this shit. I was like, dude, I used to be the hugest fan of them. But they have faults, right? They have faults. So I'm just calling out the fault because the fault was he said some bullshit. I don't remember where. It was on some talk show probably. And it just was like, ew. Yeah, uh-oh. I was like, uh-oh. They're yelling something over here. They're guilty of some things. Just like the Adam Sandler thing. I go, actually, it was a really good topic because I go, you see how much stuff that you pass off? You can't be on top of it all because there's so much grooming that there's going to be a number of things you're going to continually be touching on.